Yes, this is Brett, Secret Service. Would you ring this phone back, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go to another line.
All right.
Please. You hearing me back? Please.
Yes, yes, please.
Dr. Kissinger, please.
Thank you.
Hello?
Dr. Kissinger, sir.
Hello?
Hello, Henry.
Mr. President.
Well, since you got back, have you been infected yet with the Washington virus?
Not yet, Mr. President. I think we're on the right course. I've read the speech over, and I think it is very strong now.
Yeah, it's a pretty good speech, actually.
I think it's an excellent speech.
Yeah, it's got a lot of tone. Let me say that I think it's important. I told Rose to tell Buchanan that you have the same thing, that both you and Buchanan say you don't know what the hell's going to be in it.
Right.
I think it's very important to do that for the reason that I might change it. And second, I just think it's just as well to know that, because I know that, we get the usual staff jitteriness and Congress and all the rest saying to do this and that and the other thing, and I understand all that. They're all, wobbling around and hell, I'm just not going to let them think they affected me one way or the other.
Absolutely.
And because I know, the point is that the fellows they may think they tell me things I don't know, but I'm aware of all these things. I mean, I know them more deeply than they do, so it is.
Well, John Haley called this evening.
Yeah.
He had a number of hot ideas. But, that is a syndrome of all people who just leave the news field.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do it the other way, the traditional way.
What is his idea?
Well, he doesn't have a concrete idea. He just wants some sort of smashing announcement that would diffuse everything.
Well, now, what the hell would we do? You mean like announce we're going to get out tomorrow or end all combat?
He admits he doesn't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Can't be done.
And it can't be done.
I think November 3rd. It's just in that respect, it's like November 3rd because basically, whether it's we'll listen to him later, but the point is that at this point we cannot just do something that we know isn't gonna wash. That's all there is to it.
I talked to Kahn and he said he's become totally convinced that if we appeal to the doves, we'll be destroyed.
Huh.
And he said he read the World Report. He had to give a speech at the Federal City Club. He thinks your foreign policy holds together. And it's got a good philosophical foundation, and we should fight for it.
Yeah.
And that coming from him, since his instinct now the other way, is particularly interesting, I think.
Well, we're not going to go. We'll play, incidentally. Once we get something to play with, if we get anything from Gabriel or anything like that, we'll then go to John and Scully, and by God, we'll broker the hell out of it. We got to do a better job.
But then we do it to destroy the doves.
But not for the purpose of catering to them. This idea that you can diffuse them is bull. It will not work.
I agree completely.
I know, for example, John Ehrlichman, was raising the credibility problem today, and various things, and he was doing it, at the best of feelings. And I said, well, John, and he wasn't trying to advocate a change, but he says there is a problem. Hell, I know there's a problem, but it's not what we've done, it's what they've created.
That's right.
What the hell have we done that is the only stupid thing we did, actually, when you look at Laos, the only stupid thing was that goddamn blackout, which I didn't order, but and which those sons of bitches
we thought would end within 24 hours.
Well,
if it had ended within 24 hours, no one would have paid any attention to it.
I know. Well,
no, Abrams in this whole operation has been a disaster. Got great credit, but he's not been good on that.
Well, anyway, the point is that having happened, it is true that if you read the polls and everything else, there is a credibility and about us. They don't believe us. They don't. There's a lack of confidence in the conduct of the war and so forth. That is no reason to cave. We just state it out there the best we can and hope for the best.
It is
because if we start simpering around and catering to these bastards. Hell, they just eat us alive. And Garment sees that, doesn't he?
Absolutely. In fact, and he came to this conclusion entirely by himself, and as you can imagine, against his first instinct.
Well, I would, when you're talking to more of the staff, because I won't see them, I would take a line where you're concerned. Why don't you appear to be a little dovish? I mean, just say, gee whiz, I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, he's done what he's did before. He's thinking about it himself. He's going to make his own decision, and I can't predict at all what he's going to do.
Absolutely.
I'd just keep him guessing, and if they wail and going around, say, now look, you can wail all you want, but he's the guy that's going to do this, and that I've considered all their views, and all the rest. I mean, Schultz and Ehrlichman and McGregor and Rumsfeld and Finch and all the rest. They don't know a goddamn thing about this. They don't know what it's about.
And they don't know what we'll be hit with if this whole thing comes apart.
They don't know anything about foreign policy.
Exactly.
They're only concerned about, frankly, peace at any price, really, because they see all they're concerned about is, revenue sharing and the environment and all that crap, which doesn't amount to anything, in my opinion.
They want to take off the immediate pressure. This is their overriding concern.
Mm-hmm. Well, the immediate pressure isn't all that heavy.
And that, I don't believe, can be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be done their way, because once you accept the premises of McGovern, you are fighting on his ground. And it wouldn't be in character.
Oh, that's right.
There is one thing, Mr. President, there are two sentences we ought to add.
Yeah.
Because there's this cynical comment that the Doves are now making, especially McGovern, that we are substituting Asian for American casualties and increasing the bombing, and we can do it in two sentences. One, where you speak about reduction in American deaths, you can say, and South Vietnamese casualties have also dropped by, I think, 50%. I'll get you the exact figure.
And why don't we say that and then put in, and we've reduced our bombing by so much.
And the bombing within South Vietnam has been reduced by 90%, Mr. President.
Yeah, and just, rather than getting into too many figures, just say that we've reduced our bombing by 30% or something like that. You know what I mean? Just get it, whatever the figure is for Southeast Asia, so I don't have to get into separating South Vietnam from Laos.
The significance of the 90% is that in the populated areas, our bombing has decreased by 90%. The area we are now bombing is the unpopulated areas.
But I know that, but I don't have time to explain that.
No, I'll get you the right.
All we need is just get some figure that makes the point. We can at least try to get that across.
Right.
But,
so two sentences is what I would recommend in that slide.
And also the South Vietnamese casualties are down.
That South Vietnamese casualties, I'm getting the exact.
Even with Laos?
Even with Laos.
Yeah. You even say that, even with the heavy casualties they took in Laos.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, these goddamn Dove things, Henry, it's just one thing. They eat you alive, you take one thing, and then they go after another one. And, hell, I've determined to just see it through, and hell with them. And if it fails, it fails. And
well, it's a heroic posture, Mr.
Well, hell, hero or not, the point is that there's no other course for the country.
Yeah.
These people, I mean, that's why our domestic side, I mean, while I'm interested in their views, why they're irrelevant. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
That's right.
I mean, now, on the other hand, too, I must say that they are so terribly obsessed with listening to television, reading all of our critics, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and of course I must say the Alsop piece probably disturbs them, but they read all that, and they say, well, now, just a minute, is this true? I mean, have we overstayed anything? Haven't we really kept our promises? You see, that's the point. I constantly get back to the fact that I don't think our own people know that enough how to defend us.
That's right. That's right.
Hmm?
They are astonished by some of these things, or by what we've accomplished. I mean, we've kept our promises. We will have taken out several hundred thousand, 2/3 of our promises.
No, but they get the impression, or they read the critics, and they get the impression that, damn it, we are lying, and that we are covering up, that there are Yeah. He's nice, just the rule that he probably has not. Secretary Hardin, please.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes.
Secretary Hardin.
Hi, Cliff.
Yes, Mr. President.
I just made a decision that I think will please you.
Good.
And and as a result of it, I know that you can now go out and have a chance to sell our rural revenue sharing. The Extension Service. I made the decision that we will follow your recommendation. The maintenance of effort, sort of whatever it is that is required to. I think you know what the
three sentences that need to go in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I had to push so hard.
Well, I understand. Well, as a matter of fact, John Connolly and I talked a little about it in California, because you know how strong he was about this and that and the other thing, and I just told him, I said, no, the Department of Agriculture will be tough enough, but the Extension Service, we just cannot, that damn thing is it's so part of the American ethic that we just can't screw it up. But I just want you to know that I just told Ehrlichman Schultz that's the way it's to be, so it's done.
Well, thank you.
And when you hear it from them, I just hope you carry it out, but I appreciate it. I know you had to argue for it, and you were right, and we pushed it out.
Well, on that basis,
and you get the word to the people in the department that you and I chatted about the thing, and that I, frankly, this is a good idea too to the farmers, that I overruled the OBM staff and I stood for the Secretary of Agriculture. Fair enough?
yes, sir. Say, Mr. President, there's a man I think you know in here with me now. Claude Gifford of the Farm Journal.
Oh yeah.
Well, if we don't one over the other of us stutter in the next 10 minutes, he's going to come to work with us.
Oh, that's wonderful. But don't listen. You don't stutter ever.
Try not to.
That's right. You're always fast with the words.
Well, he's going to be here.
Well, he's a great guy. I just told him I'm just delighted, and we'll be delighted to have him.
You wouldn't say a word to him, would you?
Sure I would. Put him right on.
I didn't arrange this either, Claude.
That's right.
Hello.
I just wanted you to know that Cliff had told me that he's trying to use his wiles to get you to come help us, and I couldn't endorse it more. It'd be a wonderful asset to the administration to have you with us. We need not only your support, but more your know-how, your your way around, the farm community, and it would just be a great help to us.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
And we look forward to working with you. I just gave Cliff some good news he'll tell you about the Extension Service, so that'll make your job a little easier.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Tell the farmers not to give up on us. It's going to come out all right.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
All right, fine.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You betcha. Bye.
Well, this is a great day, Mr. President.
Fine. You go ahead now, and the thing, just you work out the words. But I've made the general ruling. I didn't read I don't know how to dot the i's. I just said, all right, fellas, look, we're gonna do what you want on this thing. So let's work it out.
Well, if the words are all prepared.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Operator.
Mr. Haldeman, please.
Thank you. Mr. Haldeman, sir.
Hello. Yes, sir. That was great. Well, I don't know. As I said, it was 19 minutes and 40 seconds. But there's a lot of work in it. But it was 1937, actually. You cut it by 3 seconds. Now, I must say that I put an awful lot of emotion into it. Well, and I don't know whether it got through. It sure did. And it did very clearly, and the decision to do the thing at the end was exactly right, I think, because for one thing, it completely threw the commentators off. Oh, did it? Because it was, they didn't have it. They already chopped it up? Well, they didn't have it in their text. No, they're not chopping it up. Both ABC and NBC did just a very quick wrap up and then went off the air. CBS is still on analyzing compromising.
Yeah, well, they all of them.
But they're not, you know,
It threw them off because
so far they're covering it very fairly, but rather came on right at the beginning and made quite a point of that the last 2 minutes was not in the text, and you know, that you had that they had been briefed on the early part of it.
Yeah.
I just got a note here from on Billy Graham's call. He says this was a masterful job, particularly the last 2 or 3 minutes were very good. He felt the president spoke to the heart as well as to the head. As an appeal, it was one of the best and generally one of the best presentations that he's given. So Billy liked that part, and of course the staff people are all just think it's great.
The last part, of course, was quite a work of art, to be frank with you.
It sure was.
To take all of that and to compress it into that, and to say it without being maudlin, and yet to have some emotion in it. You know, it was done with style.
It sure was.
And nobody can say that we were tear-jerking and all that sort of thing. But it jerked a tear, too, I think.
Well, that's Brody Black of the Cincinnati Enquirer's one I've got in here says the conclusion was impressive and moving. And, you know, I think we're going to get that on all of these, that he thought the strong point of the speech was your willingness to be judged on the record. And that's, you know, I think...
Well, you can call me back in a half hour.
It comes through awfully strong.
Any reactions you get. Okay? Okay, sure. Give me a half hour. In a half hour, I'll be eating, and then I just want to... But I don't want to talk to anybody myself.
Okay.
But I'm going to be particularly interested to know who does call.
All right, and let me tell you one that Bill Rogers called before the thing and said if I saw you before you went on to tell you he had read the speech and that it was right on the ball, and as the kids would say, it was right on.
Yeah.
But he was very enthusiastic.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good time. You know, you'll always remember your bit.
You too, sir?
Kissinger, please.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Kissinger, sir?
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yeah, hi, Henry.
This was the best speech you've delivered since you've been in office.
Well, I don't know. I think November 3rd was better, but we will never have a moment. We'll never have a moment like that again.
Well, the November 3rd speech was not well delivered, Mr. President, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was a powerful speech.
Yeah.
This one was really movingly delivered. And I don't know whether you saw the commentary afterwards.
Of course, I don't look at the commentary.
Well,
I don't care what the bastards say.
Well, but this is so amazing, John. First of all, no one was fly-specking it. John Chancellor was very favorable. Everyone is saying a strong man sticking to his guns, carrying out his policy, not being driven off. Dan Rather, very positive. Marvin Kalf, very positive. The only guy who was fly-specking it a little bit is the Pentagon correspondent who had been...
How about Howard Smith? How'd he do? He wasn't on.
At least I didn't see him.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. This little speech was a work of art. I mean, I know a little something about speech writing, and by the time we got it down in that little conclusion, I think that was done. And it was no act, because no actor could do it. But no actor in Hollywood could have done that well. I thought that was done well, didn't you think?
First of all, no actor could have written it. To begin with, you couldn't have done it unless you had meant it.
Yeah. But did that come across? I mean, it was...
Mr. President, I had, after all, heard it before.
Yeah.
I had a lump in my throat when I heard it.
Well, you know, it brought a lump to mine, strangely enough. I always did. When I saw that little kid, I almost broke up, you know, in the room that day, and I'll never forget.
I watched it with Haig and Lord, and they...
What do they think?
Absolutely moved and overwhelmed. They said this was tremendous.
Haig, Lord, too?
Lord, too, and...
He's sort of an intellectual. But Haig would...
Well, of course, Haig...
Haig liked our Defense of the Armed Forces, too, didn't he? I really stuck it to him on that.
Very much. And the TV guys, who actually had treated me rather roughly in the question period...
Had they?
But gave back exactly what we gave them. These TV briefings pay off, but above all, you imposed on them a great deal of respect. This... I don't know what others will tell you, but this was the most favorable commentary I've heard, the most respectful one, anyway. And it was...
But you thought, how did it come off and delivered? I didn't look up much.
It was by far the best delivery I've heard you give. It was dignified, strong, it was not ingratiating. If anything can do it, I don't know what the results will be.
Oh, well, we won't do it.
But if it can...
When I met with those leaders were a miserable lot, weren't they?
Well, Albert is all right, but...
Scott didn't... Well, I meant Scott. Ford's fine, but that goddamn Scott was... And Griffin, you know, sucking around.
Well, Scott, anything you tell Scott, you might as well tell the New York Times.
No, but I was... But after you left, I stuck it to him. I said, look, you know, on that point, I said, the Congress wants to take over, that's fine, but then they take the responsibility for this going down the drain, and that is clear, gentlemen. By God, I'm not going to let them get off of this hook.
Well, it is a disgrace, Mr. President.
Yeah.
You are saving this country. It is...
well, incidentally, let me say, screw the cabinet and the rest, though. As far as I'm concerned, I've made the speech now, and the rest of them, if they like it, fine, but no more sucking around. From now on, they come to me. Well, I'm sick of the whole bunch.
It's a speech that we can all be proud to have had the privilege to be associated with.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way.
It was also magnificently delivered. It was the best delivery.
The thing at the last was a good idea, wasn't it? To throw away the text
and also the way you put it away was very effective.
I mean, move the papers away.
The papers away.
Took a little time.
John Chancellor said you gave the whole speech without notes.
Yeah.
At the end.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I had no notes at the end.
No. He commented at the end of the...
Yeah, I see.
But he gave an absolutely favorable summary of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, and...
They're probably afraid Agnew jump on them.
And, well, no, this speech was hard to fly spec, Mr. President.
Well, it's a goddamn good little speech, actually.
Well, deep down, they all know you're right. That's the hell of it.
And they know the other people are just... That's right.
They know that...
And the others are a bunch of goddamn cowards. And they know...
Cowards and publicity seekers.
That's right.
I mean, there isn't...
Well, I'll tell you this, though, Henry. You've convinced me. The staff, except for Haldeman and one or two others.
Ehrlichman has been...
Haldeman, Ehrlichman. Well, Schultz is fine, but he's in another league. But the staff generally screw them, and I mean they can do their jobs, but nothing more. And as far as the cabinet, except for Connolly, the hell with them. I mean that's all there's to it.
Well, Mr. President, you've done this one.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, I don't care. I mean, right now, if it doesn't work, then let me say though, I'm going to find out soon, and then I'm going to turn right so goddamn hard it'll make your head swim. We'll bomb those bastards right off the earth. I really mean it.
Well,
I think you agree, don't you?
I think, Mr. President, we have to make fundamental decisions.
That's right.
In the next
few
weeks, seeing what the president brings back.
That's right. Well, yes. But I mean, assuming he doesn't bring anything back, assuming they don't negotiate, then we turn right hard, Henry.
I think that's right.
And let's teach him. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Night.
Yes, please.
Woods, please.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Hello, Wood, sir.
Hi, Rose.
Hi. That was absolutely great.
Yeah. How's the distaff side reacting over there?
Well, let me tell you that it was tremendous from everybody's point of view. The whole thing, the sincerity, I'm now lumping a lot of calls together, but when you put the papers down and just talked, I would doubt that you had a dry eye in the audience.
Well, I didn't. I felt a little wet myself.
Yeah. I know that, and I remembered, I was thinking myself of that woman you saw at El Toro, who was...
That's right.
You know,
the little boy that saluted, I remember when he saluted me, boy, I
that's
broke
great.
up.
Because Jack Mulcahy called.
Did he?
Yes. And he's down in Florida, and Bergen and O'Hara were around, and they just thought it was absolutely tremendous.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And he said that it was the first time he'd ever listened to any president and had tears in his eyes.
Did he?
Yes.
Even old Jack?
Yeah. He thought it was sensational. And all of them came on, you know, Bergen and O'Hara.
And then Delta Fire. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Bergen
came on, and he just thought it was a great speech. It was magnificent.
Well, it was a nice little speech, actually. It was 19 minutes and 40 seconds, but it was one of the hardest ones I ever did.
Oh, it was...
You know, we'd have no support, this goddamn cabinet, except for Connolly. And I must say, Bill Rogers, to his effect, not one son of a bitch in the cabinet called me. Not one.
Bill Rogers called. him in a minute here. The vice president called. He would like to talk with you.
But did he call?
Peter Malatesta talked with me and said that the vice president thought it was, they all thought it was just marvelous, but that he, you know, he really would like to talk with you, so I'll give the operator that number if you want.
Well, maybe I should return his call.
Secretary Rogers was at the Luxembourg embassy.
So he didn't see it? Huh?
Yes, he did. He called and he said it was great, it was tremendous. He said everyone thought it was, and he said that he thought it had, quote, the same impact as the fund speech. That it had one hell of an impact, and that he just thought the last part was
well, he suggested
beautiful.
that, you know. He didn't suggest what I'd say, but
no.
He said throw away your notes and just talk a little while.
Well, he was.
But this little story about Kevin, I never told before. But
well, that was beautiful.
But,
that little Kevin.
You know, the little boy saluting, wasn't that something?
It was beautiful. And the Attorney General called.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
What did he
thought
say?
It was great. He thought it was one of your very best. One of your great.
That's nice.
He said, I thought it was one of his greatest performances personally. Mm-hmm. And he said that he'd been working, talking with people, very hard problem, but he thinks that you have really, you know, touched the people. And he thinks that, you know, we just have to move ahead with the project of selling some of the idiots.
Well, they're most of them in the establishment, yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm glad Rogers was pleased and the vice
very
president.
Much so. Very much so.
Where is Agnew out in California?
Agnew, I'll give the operator the number.
Well, maybe not. I don't think I should call him out.
I think you should.
Well, he called me, did he?
Yes.
Well, then I should return.
He called and said I would like to talk to the president.
All right, fine.
That you came, you came.
I can talk to him. I wouldn't need to talk to. I shouldn't talk to Mitchell.
Most of the others you don't need to.
Rogers,
they don't want you to bother. Rogers said don't bother. He's at the embassy and so forth. Hope Lewis thought it was.
Did he call? What did he say?
Yes, he thought it was the greatest ever.
He really did?
Yes.
I might return his call because he never calls me. I mean, he never calls me to bug me.
Yeah, he never does. He said anyone has to be convinced by that. He thought it was, you had an unbeatable position, the record was great, another 100,000 on top of what you've done, and he just thought it was marvelous.
Good.
Leonard Firestone called.
Oh, did he? Len?
Yes, he's in Palm Springs, and he said that he was with a whole group of people.
What they said?
And they all were so thrilled. They thought it was just, I'm reading from notes now, that it was great. The record, the leadership, the delivery, the poise, the everything of the delivery, and everyone around there, just their consensus was that it was great.
The conclusion, though, tell me about the people in your office. They were moved by it, the kids?
Marge even called me, and Dwight called me. Dwight called me, and it was over. Dwight says, I haven't ever cried before. And Marge, everybody. It was just beautiful.
Well, I was practically crying when I delivered it.
I know
that.
I know that from watching you. And Senator Dole had just gotten to Florida.
Dole? Yeah?
Yeah, he said he has an officer cranking out a statement that, you know, so forth. He thought it was very good. He said he's gonna put out a release in terms of the carping Democrats, and I said, what are you gonna do about our own people?
Yeah.
He said we didn't limit it to Democrats.
That's right.
But he just thought it was great. He's down there to do 5 fundraisers.
Well,
now, out of all those people, I think the only one really would be Agnew, because I didn't speak with him.
Well, I might call Rogers for only a reason that he suggested throwing away the text at the last.
Yeah, well, if you want, I'll tell the operator where he is.
Fine,
he's
all
at the
right.
Luxembourg Embassy, and I'll give him the Vice President's number.
Fine. You think I should call Hope Lewis?
I think that would be great, because as a matter of fact, so many calls I got cut off from Hope.
Fine. All right, fine. Okay.
I'll tell the operator to get them for you.
Fine. All three.
Fine. Yes, please.
Dr. Billy Graham, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, I don't. No, I like...
Reverend Billy Graham on the line, sir.
Who?
Reverend Billy Graham.
Hello.
There you are.
Hello,
Hello.
Mr. President.
Is this Billy?
This is Billy Graham.
How are you?
I want to tell you that that's by far the best anybody has done on Vietnam. and you had me in tears. I really feel that...
Well, I was in tears myself, you know. Every time I think of that little Kevin and he saluted, it just broke me up.
Well, I think you even threw old Dan Rathol's balance.
Yeah.
I thought it was just tremendous, and I just wanted to tell you that
Are you in Knoxville?
No, I'm still in Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I've been down here about 5 weeks.
When are you going to your crusade in Kentucky?
Yes, that starts in about 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I see.
You have to go to California to deliver a couple speeches first.
Right. But you felt it was the right thing. Of course, we're fighting a very tough battle here. You know, everybody wants to pull out, but I have to fight against the tide. I got to do the right thing.
I think you defused a lot of it tonight, though. I don't see what in the world they can say after tonight. I think that you've given some of people like me, you've given me something to hold on to and to really say. And I've got an editorial in the New York Times on Friday, which I wrote this morning. They added
Good for you.
Yesterday.
Good.
And I'm putting all the blame of this whole thing on Kennedy.
That's right. He started the damn thing. He killed Diem, and he sent the first 16,000 combat people there himself.
Well, I'm saying that the first time I ever heard of our involvement was 4 days before he was inaugurated, playing golf with him. He said, I quote, "We cannot allow Laos in South Vietnam to fall to the communists." And then I said when President Johnson took over, we had 16,000 troops there.
That's right.
And I said the political climate in the United States...
Well, and Diem had been murdered. You see, Billy, the key thing here was Kennedy's and I must say our friend Lodge's agreement to the murder of Diem. Diem, that's what killed that's opened the whole thing.
The whole thing. And I said this sentence, I said, many of the president's doves in the Senate were not then so dovish. Even Senator Fulbright, who introduced the now famous Tonkin Resolution. And I got all that in there. They've taken it. They're going to print it Friday morning.
Good. Well, anyway, I appreciate...
But I thought it was your sincerity and your manner of presentation was just excellent.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful. I was...
One thing, incidentally, I threw away the text at the last and talked about this little boy that came there. Little Kevin, when he saluted me, I damn near broke up.
I'm sure you did.
Well, you know how it is.
I sure did.
It's awful tough, isn't it?
Well, God bless you. You've got a lot of people praying for you.
Well, believe me, Billy, it means an awful lot. And you keep the faith, huh?
You betcha.
Keep the faith.
Sir. Bye.
Our folks, we're going to win. Hello.
Mr. President, I have the Vice President for you. There you are.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. President.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. I'm
in California, huh?
Yeah,
well, that's great.
California. I had a good interview with the Copley people with that.
Good. Oh, they're great people. My God, if we had only more papers like them, we'd be in clover.
That's true. Well, Mr. President, I think you pulled all the teasing in tonight, and I thought it was I'm trying to be completely objective. I thought it was the most effective of all the Vietnam speeches by far, particularly the part where you put the papers down and just went off the cuff on that very personalized impression.
Well, actually, I was really speaking from the heart because, that Gio or little Kevin, a 4-year-old, saluted me. My God. What do? You almost come apart.
Well, it came through extremely well, not just that part, but the whole speech. I thought it was extremely well organized and effective. It should do a great amount of good as far as defusing all of this incipient demonstration and whatnot.
Basically, the problem is that the country is sort of in a neurotic state.
No, I know.
And so, but we got to fight it because we got to do the right thing. That's all.
Well,
because so history will look back and say, did we crumble or did we measure up? That's why I said at the last that generations in the future will look back and say we had the courage to do the right thing. I'm not sure we have, but by God, you and I are going to be damn sure we do everything we can, right?
That came through strong and clear tonight. And
I think you'll find even the analysis on CBS was fairly...
I hope you didn't look at it. Oh, you did. I bet you did. Don't do it. Don't look at those goddamn television programs.
See whether they're getting any religion, Mr. President.
Ah, they won't get any religion. But anyway, I appreciate the fact you've kicked those bastards in the butt.
But honestly, I think this will be of tremendous assistance, and
it wasn't too bad on CBS then, huh?
No, it was an excellent. You know what they did? They said, we're not going to give the president charge, but we'll take our own. And they went all the way back to the first thing you said about 25,000 withdrawn, and
yeah.
And they said that you met or exceeded every one of your commitments.
That's true.
But for CBS, well, it's true, but I mean for them to emphasize.
That's right.
It was a new departure for CBS. And it came across as a very positive analysis, the first one I've ever seen.
Well, don't get your hopes up. The next one will be negative.
I'm as cynical as you are about that.
That's right.
Maybe more so, but...
well, no, not more so. I've been through it more than you have.
Across extremely well, and I think what you succeeded in doing tonight will prove itself in the coming weeks to be probably one of the...
Well, you know, the real problem, Ted, is the fact that these goddamn senators and congressmen, they're all crawling and screaming and whining around. Damn it, they ought to stand up and be men. The real question is, they want us to get out on for a certain date. Why the hell won't they say so? All right.
Well, they have a...
Then, by God, all right, we'll get out on a certain date and let them be responsible for Vietnam going communist. All right, but they won't do that.
Well, you see, they have a different perspective than you, Mr. President. They're not looking at the short term of service and doing the job. They're looking at a lifetime in the Senate. That's
I know. Well, we're going to do the right thing, and we're doing the right thing. We're going to stick to it, but I want you to tell old Bob Hope, but I hope he noticed what I said about the Vietnam serviceman, because I did that for him. After my call with him on the telephone, that I wrote that whole section. You remember I said, by God, somebody's got to stand up and speak up for the men that have served in Vietnam.
That's very good.
Wasn't that good?
Yes, it did. Well, the whole speech was outstanding.
Well, but tell Bob that section was a result of my conversation with him. Will you do that?
Bob, yes.
Okay. Fine, Ted.
Good night.
Thank you for calling.
Right.
Yeah?
Secretary Rogers, Mr. President.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello, Bill. I understand you're having a gay evening at the Luxembourg Embassy.
Young foreign minister is a hell of a nice fellow, and he's here in this country. Say, I just thought that was tremendous. God, that's gotta have a great influence. I
probably won't, Bill. You know, don't get your hopes up, because the country, when I saw Mel, sitting there and whining and
I couldn't care less about
Jesus Christ.
That had to be a speech with tremendous impact.
Well, I put a lot of effort and frankly, as you know, a lot of emotion into it, because I felt it very deeply.
God, it was so...
When that damn kid, Kevin, really, I only tell you, when he saluted me, I couldn't make the next presentation. A little kid, 4 years old, saluting.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it was, I don't know how you could have done it any better. I thought the substance was great, and I thought your delivery was absolute perfection. I don't know how the hell you could have done it better. Well, we watched it. We had the whole crowd
at the Luxembourg Embassy. Are you still there?
Yeah, we had some congressmen there.
Yeah.
I made this date a long time. I wouldn't have done it, but I asked him.
Oh, I know.
But the whole thing was, everybody in the room was touched, including the people from Luxembourg, the foreigners, and
Were they touched by it?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It was interesting that afterwards, everybody, there was no, everybody sort of sat, and you could tell that everybody was trying to
touched.
I look at, I wouldn't say it if I didn't. I couldn't care less what the editorial writers, their columnists.
Screw them.
The hell with that.
Right.
The American people that watch that have got to be tremendously impressed. And the impact, I think, is exactly what was needed. Just exactly what was needed.
Well, let me say this. If it doesn't work, what the hell? If the American people don't want to go to the show, screw it. Let me say, if they don't, Bill, look, I'm prepared. Nobody knows. We'll turn right awful fast and forget it all.
Yeah, but you can't do that. This was just great. I had 450 top business leaders over in the Department of State. I spoke to them from 5:30 to 6 and talked to them about the speech.
You had to copy by that, did you? Good.
And
Good.
Well, I didn't tell him what.
But you knew what it was.
But
actually, it was a pretty well written copy. You know, it took me 2 weeks to write that damn thing.
It was great.
But it was tight, and
delivery was excellent. In the last part, you know, so
well, it was your suggestion. I told Bob Haldeman, tell you that you suggested, but then I had to find out something to say that was different, and that's where the little thing about Kevin came in. I remember that little boy.
Good.
He really shook me. He really shook me. That kid did.
Yeah, I'm sure that some of these sophisticates will say it was corny.
Oh, bullshit! Just like they said that the fun speech was a bull.
That speech, Mr. President, has got to have a hell of an impact. And as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't care less about Congress, what the goddamn resolutions are.
Screw them.
No, I'm serious now. I don't agree with Mel. I don't think it's going to be that kind of a problem.
But Mel is so, I was so surprised. Well, of course, he's been taking a hell of a beating, Bill.
Yeah.
He's down there all the time. But if he's right, let's fold and fold our tents and go creeping away and slinking away like a bunch of goddamn cowards. But I'm not ready to do it.
Yeah, well, you can't do that. I'll tell you, I'll bet you that speech will just turn the tables. I have no...
The speech? You really think so?
Absolutely. I really have no doubt about it. In my opinion, we will not have any serious problem. Now, we'll have demonstrations and we'll have speeches, but I'll be perfectly happy to...
But the main thing, Bill, is the prisoner thing. They say prisoners versus withdrawal. That's going to be the next big issue, so we've got to find a damn angle on that.
Well, I just want to...
So what I said about Kevin, I mean, his father, good God, he would never trade, you know, prisoners versus withdrawal, because what the hell? What does that do? That gives victory for the communists.
I don't know how you could have said it better. The whole thing was...
Yeah.
The delivery was perfect. I've never seen you deliver one better.
It wasn't hard. You know, I spent an hour with those goddamn leaders, you know. They're nice, but because Boggs wasn't there. But nevertheless, I had Albert and Scott, who's and all the rest, and I spent an hour with them. And you know, I met with them, Bill, from 7 to 8 o'clock, and they had to rush over, take a shower, get ready, go over and go on. I don't know how the hell I did it.
Well, you can go to sleep, have a few drinks, go to sleep, knowing that that's a tremendous speech.
How did Adele think? Is she there?
She felt the same way. As I say, everybody in the room, Dave Abshire and his wife.
How do you feel?
Same way. He said it was tremendous.
Good. Well, that's good.
I'm not saying it, you know.
I know that. You wouldn't bullshit me.
No,
I know
this was...
Because, and understand, Bill, if it isn't, Christ, if this doesn't make it, the hell with it.
That's right.
Then we'll do something else.
If this doesn't make it, the country doesn't deserve you.
That's right. Well, that isn't, not me, but they don't deserve what they've got for themselves.
That's right.
Okay, get back and enjoy the caviar.
Okay, thank you.
Give my best to the ambassador.
I sure will. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Haldeman. There you are.
Hello. Hi, Bob. Bill Rogers is really ecstatic. He called me. He called me. Good God, he's really successful. I don't know. He sort of surprised me. He said, "This is great as a fun speech," but it wasn't that, of course. But it was a goddamn good speech. It touched people.
That thing is coming through all the way through. In all of these things, the calls. You've talked to him, and did you talk to the vice president?
Yeah, I talked to him, and of course,
Billy Graham.
And Graham. I talked to those three because I felt I should.
Well, Henry was the first one to call you, and then the Attorney General, Hope Lewis, Dole,
I heard about all those.
Rockefeller.
Yes, right. Rockefeller called. Well, the hell with him, but nevertheless, that's fine.
We got a report from Reagan, and he made the point that although he said the factual material was very effective and effectively refuted the scare tactics of the other side, but the most moving portion was where he was obviously speaking from the heart. And that he'll, of course, continue to speak out in favor of the policy. Johnny Rhodes says you set the record straight, laid to rest the false rumors. Don't think anyone who saw his speech could have any doubt as to his dedication to making Vietnamization work. Weicker, which is interesting, said he made a very, very effective presentation. In my statement to the press, I will emphasize the fact that the stepped withdrawal rate will go a long way to reducing American ground combat role by the end of this year. And he's found a way to go with his thing, you know. Yeah. Congressman Forsyth said he's really staying with his plan. Wonderful. I had hoped he could have gone further, but I'm reaching for something where we're really going to be out sometime soon. I know he has the courage to stay on his course. The chart he showed was excellent. But a lot of comment on the chart. Cliff Hansen said the president, despite constant criticism from those political enemies who distort the facts, has held a true course in winding down American involvement in Indochina. Again, reported straightforwardly, keeps his promise but needs our support. Personal duty of every loyal American to refuse to allow criticism to go unchallenged. Senator Scott says, I know he has a timetable, and for obvious reasons he cannot tip his hand to the enemy, but the most important fact is we are getting out of the war. We are bringing our people home. We have cut the casualties significantly. President Eisenhower said he would end the Korean War, and he did it. President Nixon has said he would end our involvement in South Vietnam, and he is doing it. I urge all Americans to lend their support to his goal to end the war.
Hear from any cabinet officers?
Yeah.
Which, besides Rogers?
But, as I told you, Attorney General...
Yeah, but that would explain that.
Is waiting to call. And then Romney, we took a message on.
That's right, I don't need to call him.
Said was very clear and understandable. The people are fed up with the war, and they'll be disappointed the rate wasn't faster, but I personally agree with his policy, and he will be down by next spring. Hodgson, the real emotional charge, conveyed feeling of steadiness. Eastern press will blast him, but it'll die out. He gave the impression that he was elected to bring steadiness, and he will not react to moods. And that's what's coming through. Raj Morton says, super. He will get a lot of flack, but he explained it so well that he'll shoot a hole in the congressional resolution for a 72 pullout. He was unusually relaxed and confident. He really got through to the people. His leadership came through. Blunt says, very clear and strong. You couldn't miss the point. The only ones who won't understand are the ones who don't want to understand. Volpe says, more calm, rational, and cool manner than he's ever done on Vietnam. He was so sincere. The Kevin Taylor ending was just the right touch. He nailed down very well why we won't give a pullout date. And
that's fine. Okay.
We've got a lot of damn good. The union stuff is sensationally good.
Like what?
Like
George Meany? No.
I don't have Meany.
Brennan?
We don't check
anybody.
Wait a minute. Let me.
But who? What union people?
Well, just a second. Let me find them. Got them. Okay. Peter Faso, president of Laborers, I don't know which one it is, International. The whole country should stand behind the president. He's the best position to know what to do. Michael May, New York firefighters. The president is doing the best anyone could possibly do. I don't think the president should get out too fast. We must not have sacrificed our people for nothing. And John Greiner, the government employees. Tell the president he's with him all the way. Frank Rafferty, Painters International. Doesn't think the withdrawal should be any faster. Supports the president. Will issue a statement in the morning. Support down the line. Jesse Calhoun, president of Marine Engineers. The president is doing exactly the right thing. He'll support him and get the word to everyone he can. Donzi, the president of Textile Workers, says, excellent, outstanding, couldn't agree more.
Well, tell Colson to follow up on these things.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to follow up.
C.L. Dennis, Railway Brotherhood, backs the president completely. Will issue a statement and get to his members and ask for support. Fitzsimmons of the Teamsters, solidly with the president, will issue a statement of support.
Good.
Tom Boyle, Chemical Workers, wants to wait till he reads the papers tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Fine, okay. Yeah. What about any other cabinet officers? That's all we got. The rest of the sons of bitches are sitting around waiting. You haven't heard? What about Connolly? He would have called, I would think.
No, don't have.
That's right.
Don't have his checks. They may have. The board is completely jammed, so they...
Yeah, they may have called Rose.
Some get through and some don't, and they may have gotten Rose.
That's right. I don't mind. I just wanted to know.
I've got a bunch of the businessmen if you want any of those.
Well, none of them are worth a shit. I don't know.
Okay.
Unless you think there's one that is. If you want to, tell me one.
You really got to Mulcahy. He says, I watched with a group of 20 people. There wasn't a dry eye in the House. The greatest speech by a president of the United States. Absolutely superb. Never has a president spoken so beautifully and sincerely. Fantastic reaction from our entire group. Ranged from 17 to 70 in age.
Good.
Tell the president he has my life and my fortune.
That's right. That's the best thing. To hell with the other businessmen. They won't do a goddamn thing either with their lives or their fortunes, except, screw somebody else.
President Tuskegee thought it was very good. Mayor Patterson, New Jersey, says it was extremely well done. Use of charts most effective. Most impressive aspect of all was President's sincerity. He has never seen the President come across better on a person-to-person basis.
Well, it'll give the television people something to worry about.
Robert Terrell, professor at Indiana. President obviously sincere, gave a moving presentation that was artfully worded and convincing. Listened with a group of friends who are not at all friendly to the administration, but they too were moved by the President's remarks, especially the last few minutes when he spoke extemporaneously.
Okay. Well, that does it. I think that's pretty good.
In
any event, we shook him up a little.
I don't know what we did with the people. Who knows? But you know, the most important thing is don't ever tell anybody about what Kelly did to the people. Let everybody think that this did it. If anything happens,
I know.
it may not.
I don't know. We'll see.
It probably will level off. I think it probably will level off at 52 or 3, and that's it.
You got the conservatives. The Yaps thought it was great.
The Yaps? Yeah. Well, they should. For Christ's sakes, I was for everything they were for.
Most of he's ever heard. And the chairman of the American Conservative Union, Stan Evans,
oh, he's good.
This is in the active support of most American conservatives, and he would have liked to have seen some discussion of the strategic atmosphere.
Oh, shit. I know, that's what Buchanan wants to write.
But he's going to give you strong editorial support. Buchanan thought it was magnificent. He was...
Was he pleased?
Ray Price said it was overall excellent, extremely powerful ending, delivery very persuasive, chart highly effective, tone right, presentation lucid, delivery superb. Mark Good thought the off-the-cuff remarks at the end were sensational.
Good as no, but...
Garment, absolutely first-rate on all counts. Substance and delivery, particularly the last few minutes, outstanding.
Yeah, that was Bosch's, so you suggested all that. Well, good.
Dent made the same point. Buchanan said magnificent and very moving.
Yeah, good. They all loved the last, didn't they?
Yeah.
But that's the way the last took me about 8 hours to write.
Well, it was worth it.
Okay. Fine, Bob. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, please.
Mr. Holloman, please.
Thank you. Mr. President.
Hello.
Mr. Haldeman's en route's home, sir. May I leave word at his home?
Yep.
All right.
Time.
Yes, please.
Dr. Kissinger, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Kissinger, sir.
Yeah. President. Just wondered if you'd had a chance to get any further reactions, or if or have you just been busy?
Well, I've been talking around here, of course. The mood is one of exaltation. I talked to Bill Buckley, who thought it was absolutely outstanding, very moving, very effective, great courage. And of course, he wants us to end the draft, which
We're going to do that.
But we're going to do that, and
Tell him what we're going to do.
I told him we're going to do it, and I think, Mr. President, I'm going to put the military to the torch.
Yeah. They're screwing around on this.
They're screwing around. They're worried that it will make the volunteer army not work. But the hell with that, if we can get ourselves breathing space for Vietnam.
Listen, ending the draft gives us breathing space in Vietnam. We'll restore the draft later, but goddammit, the military, they're a bunch of greedy bastards that want more officers' clubs and more men to shine their shoes. The sons of bitches are not interested in this country.
I mean, going to all volunteer in Vietnam is what I mean, is what we ought to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can put them to the torch, get a figure, and then perhaps announce that in June.
Fine.
I think all the reactions that I've gotten, which are mostly...
you haven't talked to the Alsops or the rest, except...
No, I'll give Alsop a call right now.
Give Joe a call. Let me know what he thinks.
And I'll let you know...
But you should have heard from others. They would call you if they thought it was well. Maybe they weren't too...
No, I never hear.
Give Joe a call. It probably shook him a little to have it emotional, but goddammit, you need a little emotion for this country.
This, Mr. President, was your greatest speech. Whether it has the same impact as some of the others.
No, it won't have, but that's all right.
But this was...
we shook him.
And everybody, it comes across from everybody that he held his course. I don't know whether you have seen the news tickers.
I don't look at that shit.
Well, but he held his course, a strong speech. And I don't know whether anyone has told you about Dan Rather's commentary afterwards.
No.
If we could have written it, it couldn't have been better. He said he promised a withdrawal of 25,000, he withdrew 30,000. He promised a withdrawal of 40,000, he withdrew 50,000. Shows that you've exceeded every promise you've made.
Yeah, and now we're promising a withdrawal of 100,000.
And he said, there's no question. There was no doubt that when he got through that you would keep that too.
We're going to.
And he had a good chart there. He showed it in terms of men. A very large man representing what you had there when we came in.
Yeah.
Much smaller man.
And they all apparently were moved by the conclusion, huh?
Oh, the conclusion really gave everyone goosebumps.
Was damn good, actually, if I may say so.
Well, Mr.
I know what is good and what is not. That was pretty good.
It was your method of delivery, the sincerity, the strength, and
with no support.
With gets absolutely no support.
No, yeah. No, we won't get any now either.
And everyone,
Except from a few Belrick, you know.
Well, I think this will appeal to the American people, but whatever.
Well, we may get some from the people, but I mean from the cabinet and that shit. If they don't support me for it, I don't give a goddamn it. Mitchell, of course, is for me before Agnew's, before I talked to Agnew, and he was ecstatic. And naturally, I had
called up and said he thought it was terrific.
Did he?
Yeah.
Called you?
He called Haldeman.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to call him back. I didn't like his attitude today. I'm not going to call him back.
Oh, that was
him.
That was a cowardly.
He waited too late.
Yeah. That was not as strong.
What do you think? What did you think of him there today?
Oh, that was, he was coppering his best, and he was scared out of his mind.
But he liked it, huh?
Very much. Mr. President, there was no way not to like it. It was the best delivered speech, and it was one of those speeches which it read all right, but the way you delivered it was an absolute masterpiece.
That little conclusion, they'll all know who Kevin and Carl are, won't they?
And that's how they're carrying it.
Are they? Oh, are they? What do you say?
UPI are leading with that.
Yeah?
I don't have the text in front of me. But
oh, that Kevin, they'll go back and get their pictures, you know, and I hope the mother, goddammit, stands up and says, gee, don't just get out. I'd never check that, you know. I don't know what she's going to say. Oh, she'll be all right. She's a wife of Marine.
She won't say that.
She'll be very proud, I think, you know, that we're trying to do the right thing for her husband. The poor bastard, you know what he did? I checked. He ran in and threw a grenade into a goddamn machine gun and saved about 30 Marines that were wounded. Now, goddamn, why don't we be proud of that instead of talking about this goddamn Cali? You know, it really burns me up. We have no pride, do we, anymore, Henry? Nobody's got any pride anymore. They don't care about that.
No real patriotism.
I'm glad I put in that. I think Haig was pleased, wasn't he, with what I defended at the armed services? Was he or not?
Moved, and Haig called General Bennett, the director of Army Intelligence, who said he was choked up and he had to leave the room because he had tears in his eyes.
Good, good. All right, Henry. Thank you.
Good night, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Miss Woods, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Hi.
Rose, I just wanted to be sure that I did talk to Agnew, so I did that.
Okay, now let me tell you a couple other people. Hold back my notes here.
But Hogue Lewis did not call, so I...
yes, he did, but you were eating. And he said you didn't have to call him. All he wanted was for you to know how great he thought it was. Yeah, he called back, but you were eating or something. They didn't want to bother you.
Well,
and I talked with him again, and he's just so thrilled by it all.
He really is, huh?
Yeah.
What thrilled him? The conclusion, I suppose?
And, pardon me? At the conclusion and at the whole thing. And Governor Rockefeller called.
Called you?
Yep.
Well, that's nice.
And he said he just wanted to call up, having watched the program, that he thought it was tremendously able handling of a very, very difficult situation.
That's nice.
You had the courage to stick with your basic principles. These are tough times. And he just wanted you to know he thought it was absolutely splendid. Then he gave me his private number in New York. He said you didn't need to call him, but he gave me the number where he was calling from and to say that you were great.
I better call him.
Okay, I'll give the operator the number.
Fine. And tell her to return that.
Yeah.
Right.
Then Jack Brown called, and he was terribly cute. He waited 20 minutes on the line.
Yeah.
He thought it was marvelous, that everything was just, really great.
Well, he's a great friend.
Oh, he is a good friend, He told me he saw Agnew today. Poor old Fred Schluter, bless his heart, called me.
Yeah.
He thought you were marvelous. Freeman Gosden called.
What do you think?
He said, I just wish you would tell the president that was the most sincere and effective talk that he's made in a long, long time.
Huh.
He said it was the soft sell. He thought that...
I might call him back.
He said, I frankly ended up with a tear in my eye.
Yeah, I might call him back.
He said he talked to a couple of people who felt the same way. Now, I don't know whether you know because I sign all the things. He's been ill.
Oh.
We've sent him a couple of letters, and tonight is one of the first nights he's out, and he's at Floyd Odlum's
All right.
for dinner.
Put a call through to him.
All right, I'll tell him.
And and a call through to Rockefeller.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Okay. And Jim Bassett called me. He's here in town. He was out at the Mazos.
Oh, yeah. Have him come in and say hello tomorrow, will you?
Okay.
No, tomorrow at noon, in the noon hour. I want to say hello to him because he's never been in the office when I've been there.
Oh,
he should be.
I didn't realize that. He thought it was very good, and he thought that the comments afterwards were, he thought you really, even with the people who would be hatchet-type people, he thought you did a good job.
Have Jim come in. You know how we do it at noon.
Yeah.
And he's to come in because he's never been in the president's office, and I've been there, and goddammit, he deserves it because he was with us in the tough.
The other thing he asked me to tell you that he felt that it was really great, and that part of the charm and the greatness of the whole thing that it was not oversold in advance.
No, I tried.
He thinks this is terribly important. He wanted me to pass that on. So.
We're right. We didn't oversell a damn thing.
Okay. Well, now you don't need to talk with Hope, do you?
Bob Hope?
No, Hope Lewis.
Oh yes, I think.
All right, I'll tell him.
Damn, he's been so good.
And Freeman Gosden
Bob
and Hope.
Fine. Okay, thank you.
All right, fine. Bye.
Ziegler, please.
Yes.
Hello? Operator?
Please.
Did you get Mr. Rebozo for me, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Dr. Kissinger?
Yeah.
Mr. President, Dr. Kissinger's calling you?
Yeah.
Fine, sir. There you are.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
I just talked to Alsop.
Yeah. Joe
Joe, yeah. And he was just, he said the only reason he didn't call you is because he has a dinner party at his house.
That's all right. I shouldn't talk to him tonight anyway.
And he said he'd write you a note tomorrow. He said it was marvelous,
You
immensely.
think I should call him at his house? He might like that.
You should call him?
You think I should or not?
I wouldn't do it tonight.
All right, I won't. All right.
But he said it was marvelous, immensely brave.
He liked the speech.
He said it was proud to be an American. It was just the way things should be. He said you remind him of Grant saying you'd fight on this line if it takes all summer. And he said he had a lot of people there who were not sympathetic to you. He didn't mention their names, but he said everyone was enormously impressed.
Were they really?
That's what he said.
His friends. Isn't that interesting?
And he said...
It's interesting that his people would think that, isn't it?
Well, that's what I found. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
And he really could not have been more
But he thought it was fine. Good. That's good to know that he feels that way.
marvelous. He said immensely brave. Exactly right. Well, the whole impression of...
He didn't think that the last was too emotional, did he? Some may think that.
No, he thought that was just...
I did it, I thought, with I really underplayed it a bit, but I thought I did it with just about the right amount of, I felt it very deeply, but I couldn't let the people know that I felt as deeply as I did, but I hope it got across.
I just got somebody just handed me a news sticker saying that Mitch Bird and Scott are supporting you.
Good. Bird is particularly important.
And Bird is a fine person.
Well, he's important because he's a Democrat. Good.
Right. But Alsop was deeply moved, he said, and all of his dinner guests were profoundly impressed.
Good deal. Fine, Henry. If you got anything else that's interesting, call me.
Right, Mr. President. Bye.
Yeah.
Mr. Rebozo, sir. There you are.
Hello, baby.
Mr. President, how are you feeling?
How are the common folks? Did you see
Well, you should feel real good.
How do the folks feel? I mean, the people
I tell you, they're just great. They're
Middle
just
America. Yeah.
I think that, I really think that little summation was great, and as described later, it was not in the written speech, which I'm glad for, but that story about that Sergeant Taylor, that's a wonderful...
And the little boy, Kevin, who
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's kind of nice, wasn't it?
Beautiful. And the use of
when that little kid did that when I was at that ceremony, I broke up. I just couldn't go on to the next ceremony, really.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but it came across, did it?
Yes, sir. No question about it. I think that it was all great, but I think that highlighted that little human touch.
Now tell Manoa, he's here, you can tell him what you think and see if he can know any Spanish words.
And use those charts, too. That chart was great.
Okay, here's Manoa. Tell him the truth now.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't be listening.
All right.
But you felt good about it, did you?
Oh, Mr. President, I just think that the whole presentation was good. There's no way they could find anything wrong. I thought that your very casual reference to instant analysis was very well put.
Yeah.
And I think that the charting is always good. You know, just I think it really makes a difference. The fact that the chart shows that you've done more than you said you were going to do, and the next step that I would suggest, instead of the deadline on ending the war, would be a deadline on the Paris negotiations.
Oh, I'm going to do that in about 2 months.
Yeah, that
we're going to knock all those goddamn things. If they don't talk, screw them.
That's right. That's exactly right. Why waste everybody's time?
That's right.
But you did it in a very concise manner. You put your finger on the whole thing, and there's no way they can pick this apart.
I don't see how people could not have been moved too about the reference to Kevin Taylor, that little boy when he saluted. Good God, that broke me up.
That was just beautiful. That really was just beautiful, and that I think is something that was a beautiful way to wind it up. Yeah.
Okay, boy.
Very good.
What are you going to do now?
Well, I'm just taking it easy. I was talking to John earlier tonight.
Yeah, all right.
They're having a good time.
Yeah, fine. Well, I don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and that means everything. Okay, boy.
All right, sir. Good night.
Please.
Get Mr. Ziegler for me, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I find Mr. Ziegler's en route home. We've left word.
Fine, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Mr. Colson, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. Colson, sir. Ready?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. President.
Hello, Chuck. What is your soundings tonight?
Well, we got a very, very enthusiastic response from labor people in particular, Mr. President.
I understand. Labor. Good, yeah.
Well, it's hard to put it in writing. It was just a feeling that you get on the telephone of people genuinely moved. I think the ending of that speech was just tremendous. I think you...
Well, we'll see.
All
all I can say.
all these people are, we had very few friends before this began, and now a few of them may come along, but what the hell?
Well, I think you're going to start getting, Mr. President, some of that same coalition back. I think the Rafferty, who's the rising star among the building trades.
Who?
Rafferty.
Yeah.
He's the painters union.
Oh, yeah, he's a good man.
Oh, he's a solid man, and he said only a goddamn fool would tell the enemy when he was getting out. He said, what the devil do these people want? We're with the president. And just tell them we'll do anything for him. So
let's see if some of them can't say that, and see if Meany can't make a real strong statement. And Brennan might make a good statement. That'd be helpful,
Yes, sir. Well, they're going to be here in Washington, the building trades, in another 10 days. So,
well, try to get them to say it now, tomorrow.
Well, a number of them said they would. Fitzsimmons, the Teamsters, is putting
is he all right?
Oh, he's just solid.
Good.
But you did it again, Mr. President. You caught that mood. I know that some of the sophisticates in the media are going to say that it was a corny ending and
bullshit.
That's right. Exactly.
It was not corny.
Of course not.
It was very, very deliberate and honest and true.
Well, we know what the cynics will say, but you hit Middle America right where you wanted to be hit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
Just regular returning your call, sir. There you are.
Yes, sir. Well, how did your people, that's right. I just got some of my family in here at the moment, but,
yes, sir.
What about your people? They hold themselves, or they're acting like a bunch of damn fools as usual?
No, I think I sensed in the briefing that Henry gave after they had read the text that a number of them, of course, were trying to get themselves back on track because a lot of them were pretty far out on the limb.
Yeah.
But I think you can sense when something significant is happening. There's a sort of a silence you sense in the room.
Yeah.
And I think they gathered the very clear significance of what tonight meant. In other words, your consistency and the fact that you were carrying through with something you firmly believed in. And I think
the ending must have shook them a little because they didn't expect that.
The ending, Mr. President, was great. Fantastic. Helen Thomas had missed part of the ending, so I had it replayed for her, and the reaction to that, you had every person in the country, I'm sure, just on the edge of their seat, just in silence, because it was a very, very effective moving thing.
Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Well, I think
just stand firm.
Yes, sir. I think the reaction has to be good.
Give them a goddamn inch.
I think it has to be good.
We defended the American serviceman, too. That was a little passage.
Right?
Okay, boy.
Very effective. Yes, sir.
Alderman Ziegler.
Yeah.
Mr. President, I have Governor Rockefeller. Here you are.
Hello.
Mr. President.
Hi, Nelson. How are you?
Well, listen, aren't you nice to call back? I just wanted to call and say I thought you handled a difficult situation with tremendous straightforwardness and skill.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I think you stuck with the thing, and I think it's going to work.
Well, the main thing, Nelson, is how it all comes out, isn't it?
That's right.
And in the end, it's going to come out all right if we can stick the course, because in the next 2 or 3 months, between you and me, we might have a negotiation. Who knows? If we don't, then we'll do something else.
Well, I think that the use of that chart with those figures was tremendous.
Did that come across?
Yes, and then interestingly enough, afterwards, the commentary, I've forgotten what station we were looking at, but they took your figures and went by the periods. Said you cut 50,000 and you cut 100,000, whatever it was, and they accentuated it, and I think it was extremely powerful.
Yeah. I thought it was important too, Nelson, to put it in very personal terms. I did the last about the little boy, the 4-year-old, By God, we got to get across, that's what it's all about, not our generation, but their generation. And are we going to let them down? That's really what it really is involved,
Well, the tragedy is that so much of what's said has now sort of become an Alice in Wonderland thing.
I know.
We're talking about something that has nothing to do with the realities in which we live.
That's right. Well, let me say I've appreciated I know you're under horrible heat up there,
Well, I got my budget, I'm finished.
Yeah, no. I meant that in terms of this whole business, you know, your friend Lindsay and all the rest. But I've appreciated the fact you stood firm, and by God, I won't forget it.
Well, listen, you're the man who stood firm.
Well, I had to, but you didn't have to. You did, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to say it.
And you give my best to Happy and all of our good friends up there.
I certainly will, and we're just with you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, love.
I have Miss Woods calling you, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Hello?
Yep.
Hi. Wanted to tell you a couple more things. One, Admiral Moore just called. He just has returned, from Turkey from the Central meeting. And he wanted me to tell you that he called to express his appreciation, and he felt that all the military people would appreciate what you did, what you really said about all the efforts over there. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry, but he just thought it was so great, and he said, tell you, everything's going to be all right.
Sure it is.
He said he thinks that you struck just the right note.
Good.
Just the right note.
Good. Well, that's good.
Then I had a call from Paul Keyes.
Paul Keyes. Oh, yeah, old Paul.
And he said, tell him that it was one of the best speeches he ever made. He thought it was marvelous. He thought that the calm, low voice was absolutely beautiful and necessary for people. That it was terribly important that because of the way you spoke and the tone of your voice, as well as what you said, and he went on. He almost repeated the speech. He could tell you, what you said, but he said it was really the low voice, the low tone of voice, and he particularly liked the way you ended it. He also liked several of the other phrases. One of them was the one that uniting the nation, uniting our own nation, whatever. But he couldn't say enough about the whole tone of what came over, the attitude, what came over the air.
Good.
He was just thrilled. So I wanted to, I won't bother you with any more calls tonight.
Yeah, you haven't heard from any cabinet officers, have you?
Well,
except for Mitchell and
Rogers and Mitchell.
That's all. I know. The rest of them
all the cabinet officers.
they're all running away. I know, but that's okay.
Well, maybe not. Maybe a lot of them wouldn't,
Nah.
Let's face it, a lot of them might not want to talk to me. Most of them would. How big they would, but
no,
we got a lot of little guys too,
That's right. Well, fine. I'm glad that Paul felt that way.
Oh, he was so thrilled, and he just wanted you to know that for the whole country, and Admiral Moore was great.
Good.
And your speech was, and what you did with that ending. You keep telling me that I'm hard-hearted or that I say everything's great. But it was absolutely beautiful.
Well, actually, it was pretty good, and they elapsed, because it took me many hours to get that.
I know that.
And nobody knew I was going to do it either.
No one knew you were going to do it, and I sat here with tears streaming down my face. Now, I watched it with Louis.
Oh, Louis? Oh,
yeah.
Great. What do you think?
And he wanted you to know that he thought it was one of the greatest speeches you've ever given.
Wonderful. Good.
He left. He stayed. He was here. I don't know. He was just in town and out. He stayed. He never asked to talk.
I know.
But he liked just tell him, because I started getting on. He said, look, I have to run. Just tell him it was a great, great speech. He stood up. He was just great.
Good. Well, Louis is one of our few real good friends, ain't he?
He is, because he never asked.
There aren't many. Well, I know, but there aren't many that are with us when it's low.
He was with us.
That's right.
All through the tough times.
Okay, hon.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, night.
Yeah.
Mr. Haldeman returning your call. There you are.
Hello? Yeah. It occurred to me that, you probably are already working on this, that, you ought to gin up our people to say, we've had a great reaction, all that bullshit.
Right.
Have you done that?
Yep.
Good. I think we should, whatever the reaction is, you've got to play it that way, Bob.
Well, we've got enough that's believable. We can.
Right. And I would. We've heard from only 3 cabinet officers, which I expected. And that's that. I guess we heard from Mitchell. Who else? Rogers.
Oh, we have more than that.
No, that's all. Rogers, Mitchell.
Mitchell, Rogers, Hodgson.
Yeah, Hodgson. Yeah.
Romney, Volpe.
Volpe, yeah.
Blunt.
Haven't heard from Connolly, though. That's curious.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Why don't you call him and ask him what he thought of it?
Okay.
I'd be curious. Fine.
Right.
I think it's important to know what he feels. We got to keep him really on salvo.
Okay. Sure.
Fine.
Okay. You want me to call you back then?
If you would, yes.
Right.
But in the meantime, remember that the boys now have got to really gin up this thing. They got to make it appear as if it's a hell of a damn success. You know how it is. Great reaction, all that sort of thing. Who's working on that, Bob? Is it
the whole crew?
No, but I mean in terms of how it gets out. You know, that sort of thing. Well, you know, I know they're working on.
Well, Ron's working the press.
Right, but I meant in terms of. You see in the press in the morning, they're going to say, what's the reaction? Well, I'd say wires, calls, the usual crap, you know, that the switchboard is jammed, you know.
Right, yeah.
What do you think? Don't you think so?
Yeah, well,
or do you think so?
Yes, we've covered that with Ron to cover him with tonight.
Okay.
Because the first story stuff is all, you know, moving now.
Right. Okay, you better give Connolly a call.
All right.
What do you thought?
Right.
Yes, please. Mr. Hobart Lewis, sir. You are.
Hello.
President?
How are you?
I tried to get through to you a little earlier, but you had too many admirers.
Oh, well.
Say, I'd like to come down and shake your hand.
Well, that's very nice of you.
It's very terrific for you to hold the line that way, I think. Just wonderful.
You had to do it. That's right.
Of course, the conclusion of that speech was the most moving thing I ever heard in my life.
Well, it had to be done. I wrote that out myself about 2 nights ago, and
Really?
I didn't tell anybody that it was going to be done. It wasn't in the text.
I noticed you put the text aside.
That's right.
Just terrific.
And it was true, too. That's exactly what happened.
Well,
when this little kid saluted me, I broke up, you know, and there was no press there at the time.
I would think so. But it was just the right time and place to tell that story, too. I must say that you were leading from strength there with 265,000 men out and another 100,000 to go, and that terrific record. It's the most convincing story in the world.
Yeah, well, and these people that are trying to no bug out without regard to the cost, what the hell?
But when you've got that terrific record behind you, you've got an awful lot of confidence.
Yeah. Right. Okay, keep the faith.
Say, Mr. President, we just got back from Caneel Bay where we were in.
You must have had a wonderful time. Isn't that a marvelous place?
That's a great spot.
Hope you didn't get stuck by any of those bugs that are out
Well, there
there.
were a few of them down there, yeah.
I know.
And when we got back, we found a great big box full of ashtrays and matches and wonderful glasses with your signature.
You got the glasses? Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we've been drinking your health.
That's only for just our friends.
Well, isn't that wonderful? That's great. Sure.
Okay, Hope.
Thank you so much.
Don't give up now.
Don't you, sir.
Bye.
Right. Good night.
Yep.
Dr. Kissinger. There you are.
Hello.
Mr. President?
Yep.
I thought you might like to hear a cable we just got from bunker about half an hour ago.
Yep.
We have just heard the President's moving and courageous speech. It has inspired us all with a renewed sense of dedication and determination. Please say to him that all of us here are resolved to achieve the goals he has so eloquently stated. Please express to the President my admiration and respect for his great personal courage.
That's nice.
Warmest personal regard.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, what the hell?
Well, Mr. President...
We hear nothing, you know. I haven't heard from McGregor or from Rumsfeld or Finch, any of our other fellows. I mean, they're all cowering, I suppose, waiting to see how
I think
the polls
McGregor
show.
called Haldeman and said he was disappointed at the withdrawal.
That's fine. Well, we've got to shake him up a little then.
But that he thought otherwise it was a well-delivered speech.
Well, yeah. Good. Okay.
It was a great speech, Mr. President.
Yeah, the hell with all the rest. Okay. I talked to Rockefeller. He was fine.
Was he okay?
Oh, hell, he talked very nice.
Well,
you know, he's playing both sides. He feels
no, I don't think
his own future is involved here, too. You know, what the hell, if I go down, he may go up, but he isn't. He never go up.
No, he never says anything against you as far as I know, Mr. President. He may not say as much publicly as he should.
Right.
But he knows you're right.
Yeah, that's right. So is Reagan, so is Johnson, all the rest.
But Reagan called in, you know.
Did he? What did he say?
He said it was outstanding, moving, the best reputation to all these softies or whatever left.
Good for him. Good, good, good. Okay.
Right, Mr.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Solomon, please.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
Mr. Haldeman. There you are.
Hello. Henry just told me that McGregor was disappointed in the speech because he didn't announce more withdrawals. Now, if he's going to be that kind of a guy, we got to shuck him off goddamn fast. If he can't see this. Is that what he told you?
No, what he told me was he was very enthusiastic on presentation, and that he had hoped that we would withdraw, you know, a larger amount. But he said that all along.
Yeah. But he really hasn't, as shown, he doesn't have much guts. You haven't heard from Rumsfeld, you haven't heard from Finch, and this is all you heard from McGregor, so we've now found out who's who, haven't we? Right?
Yeah, I don't know where Rumsfeld and Finch are tonight.
That's all right. They'd call if they felt
I have heard from Ehrlichman, who was very enthusiastic. And it was interesting because he especially liked the close, and he generally is one that's opposed to doing that kind of thing.
I know. Well, Ehrlichman would be all right because he's with us, but seems to me, Bob, that McGregor, Finch, Haldeman, I mean, they've been under great pressures, I know, but goddamn it, if they don't stand up now, I ain't going to talk to them. Screw them. I am not going to do it. They aren't going to come sucking around after they read the polls. You understand?
Yeah.
Or don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. I do. But let me see what the story is on them. You know,
Yeah. All right. McGregor actually should have stood up on this sort of thing. He should stand up and talk it up, rather than screw around. Jesus Christ, we wish he'd announced a few more. Well, God damn it, he should say, if this is the right thing, I'm for it. That's what McGregor's job is.
So that's what he is saying externally. He's playing it honest inside, though, and saying what he thinks.
I know. And what he thinks is that we haven't done enough.
Now, he understands why, though. He had hoped, not because he wants an outbreak, because he thinks it would do us more good, which, you know, with his
I understand, yeah.
area it would.
Rumsfeld you haven't heard from, right?
I haven't, no.
Well, nobody has, so he's playing his own little game.
He may have called in.
I checked it around. No, Rose hasn't heard from him, and neither has Kissinger, so he hasn't called. That's all right. Did you get a hold of Connolly yet?
No, he was at the F Street Club or somewhere and had left, so he's going to call me as soon as he gets to his house.
Fine. Let me know what he thinks.
Right.
Fine.
Please.
Dr. Kissinger, please.
Thank you.
Hello.
Mr. Kissinger. There you are.
Henry.
Mr. President.
I don't know whether you may have thought of this before Haig or somebody has, but somebody should get a hold of Mrs. Taylor. The press will be after her to be sure she stands firm.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
Who will do that?
I'll do it.
You call her and tell her that the president mentioned and that he was greatly moved by that, and you call me back, okay?
Right.
I'll be here for 15 minutes.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Please.
Governor Reagan, please.
Right.
Yeah.
I have Mr. Freeman Gosden, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Here you are.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. President.
Freeman, I understand you haven't been well, and I just wanted to say that I naturally am worried, but beyond that, I heard you called about the speech, and I just wanted to thank you for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you about that very
Because you called me after the fun speech in 1952, and you were so great, and I just, what do you honestly think?
Well, I'm going to tell you it was the most sincere job that you've ever done.
You really think that?
I really do. You were very sincere. And as I was just telling Floyd Odlum,
Oh, yeah, you're there at his house, aren't you? Well, give them my best, will you?
I certainly will. I was telling him that usually your greatest is when you're surrounded by 75 or 100 newspapermen. They're throwing curves at you and you answer it. But I said tonight, for some reason, it was the most effective, and you did it so softly and so nicely, and you delivered it. It was a reassurance of the whole damn thing.
You think it got through?
I want to tell you another thing, too. The end of that thing, I found myself, truthfully, Mr. President, crying.
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, Freeman, I want to tell you a little secret, and you keep this between you and me.
Right?
When I presented this, I presented 12 medals of honor to the next of kin, to a father, to a mother,
Right.
and then to this little woman, you know. And when that little boy saluted me, that 4-year-old, I broke up. Nobody saw it because there was no press there, and I couldn't really.
It came over tonight that way.
I hope it wasn't too emotional. You know?
That nobody knew it, and nobody thought it was mushy. Somebody said that was a very sweet thing. He said at the end. Somebody else said, "Wasn't that a nice thing?" And
they didn't mind it, huh?
No, and I just found a tear running down my cheek. That's all.
Well, I'll tell you.
But you did a hell of a job.
But you know, Freeman, the thing we've got to remember is that that's what this is all about. That it's what the President Eisenhower used to always think of, what I think of. God damn it. We just want to end this son of a bitching war in a way that our kids can have a chance to grow up in a world of peace.
That is right.
And if we bug out, hell, they're going to have war.
That's
right?
And I started to send you a telegram this morning, but I said I better keep my nose out of it. I like an expression like, if you ever get to it, that not an American, a friend, a relative, a son, or anybody that you know that is American will fight on foreign soil if I can help it.
That's right.
And that's what if you just lay it, you did it so sweetly tonight, so I tell you, I don't see how you can gild that lily, to tell you the truth.
Well,
you did a hell of a job.
Well, coming from pro like you, I appreciate it. Incidentally, if you got a minute?
Sure,
yeah. I thought that it was good that I met with the movie people and tried to say, by God, we're for you, kids, but we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah.
They need to clean their own house, though. Huh?
I was going to say that to you, but I didn't want to get in trouble with Task Driver or any of the boys.
I know.
But here's the thing. They have got, you say you want something, and you control this whole industry. Why don't you clean your own place
and
get these dirty pictures off?
Get the dirty pictures off, and also get their goddamn costs down so they can compete.
That's right.
And the unions have got to. No, I couldn't agree more. That's why when I went out to see Goldwyn, I praised him for the fact that he didn't produce any dirty pictures. Of course, he would have if it had been in that period, but he didn't. This, at least, while we were there.
Yeah, that's right. I tell you, the picture business is something else. When you get into that, I hope you got your eyes open what you're doing there, because that is a real tricky.
I know it is. I know it is. Well, before we do anything, we'll call you.
One of these days, I'll send you some. I've got a couple of ideas that might do a little bit.
Good. But in the meantime, by God, you keep your spirit up, boy. We're all with you. You know.
Yes, sir, you're sweet to call.
All right.
I'll tell Floyd hello for you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Senator Byrd.
Please.
Senator Byrd of West Virginia, please.
Yes, sir.
Robert Byrd.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You weren't.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you, John. The reason he hadn't called is he was at a dinner at the F Street Club with all the former secretaries of the Treasury and the
Right.
Federal Reserve, and
But he was all right, huh?
a bunch of congressmen and everybody else. He said that he was in a large room, about 30 people there at 3 tables, and they watched on a black and white TV, so, you know, he couldn't get any feel of the picture and all. But he said he thought it was absolutely superb.
Good.
He said the content of the speech was absolutely excellent. He said he really liked the use of the chart. He said that he felt, just on the chart thing, as a side thing, that it would have been even more effective if you had gone to the chart and traced it with a finger, you know.
I know, yeah.
Pointed at yourself.
I couldn't do that because I lost the audio.
Yeah, right. He liked the prepared text held in your hand much better than the use of the teleprompter, and he said you'd just stay with that.
All right.
He said it was a very, very excellent and moving speech. And he named some of the people, John Snyder and Joe Fowler and Dave Kennedy and more, and Johnny Burns and Frank Bowe and John Tower and Mahon and McCracken and Barker, Governor Robinson, Controller Camp, Volker, Democrats and Republicans and their wives. And he said the reaction in the whole room was just very, very excellent. Everybody applauded at the end.
Conclusion?
He said it was very forceful, and he said the closing at the end was just moving as hell. And he said, I'm an expert on closings. I'm not much good at anything else, but I know how to close a speech. And he said that closing was moving as hell.
Well, good. He felt good then, did he?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he was very, you know, he's so good at looking at all this. But he said it was very, very good reaction with the group, and he thought you know, I asked if he, you know, felt you had really made the point we were trying to make, and he said absolutely, and there's no doubt about it. And so, I think he was very enthusiastic.
You will have in mind my thoughts about McGregor and Rumsfeld and the rest, will you?
Yes, sir.
You understand? We've got to find out. This is the time.
Right. I do a little smoking first thing in the morning before they
want to know. I mean, if they're going to bug out now, Bob, they're going to bug out fast right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to screw around. Don't you agree?
Sure.
They don't want to fight when it's tough. Screw them. Because we're in a hell of a fight. Believe me.
You're darn right.
Hell of a fight. And if they can't go with this was, if I may say so, this is the best you can do with what we've got. I really think it was. I mean, I put a lot into that, as I told you earlier, a lot into myself into that.
Yeah.
And if they can't get it, I think the folks got it, but I don't know.
Colson was saying that in talking with the union guys, he said, he gave us, you know, some of the quotes and all, but he said that the feeling there that came through was really very impressive, that very enthusiastic kind of response. You know, it wasn't just they were saying, yeah, it was a fine speech. They were cranked up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very excited, you know, as a result.
How about
of that.
the calls that make the editors and all the rest? Any of that comes
those, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of those.
You want to give me a little rundown?
Sure. O'Neill at the New York Daily News said, it's the most effective job you've done yet. He didn't like the part about the big mess when you came into office because that was a political job, but the rest of it was faultless. It was a terrific presentation, very effective speaking without notes at the end. Martin Hayden thought it was an excellent statistical story, and the other point he made was that CBS did a good analytical job after the speech, which they did. CBS did a superb job of making your withdrawal points.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Meyer at National Review was impressed with the statement, courageous and absolutely necessary, adequately answered the critics, but retained the flexibility you'll need in the months ahead. Believes strongly the president deserves strong support. Clayton Kirkpatrick at the Chicago Tribune says to give the president high marks for courage and perseverance. He's taking a gamble and not bowing to pressure, but he laid it on the line as he always does. It was a very effective presentation, particularly in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Particularly noted his concern for POWs, thought it was tremendous how he wound up the speech, illustrating the fact that this was a step toward peace. Jimmy Stallman, it was good he didn't give in to a definite date like even some Republicans want. Very positive, a little more emotional on the Medal of Honor bit, better without notes than he is with notes. A lot more natural. Chart was good visual evidence. Carlisle Reed at the Sacramento Union said the best and most effective presentation he's made. It will really get through to the American people. It was honest and sincere. I was very impressed with his reference to the schools and other facilities we've built in South Vietnam. And and Krulak at San Diego Union said the significant part was the almost overwhelming emotion in which the president said he wanted this country to end a difficult period on a note of hope. It was a very good thing. I think he will be criticized by his opponents for emotionalizing.
I know that.
Richard Pierce at the San Francisco Examiner, effective and responsible. He wished the president hadn't hoked it up at the end. He felt tugging at the heartstrings wasn't needed. On the whole, he considered the speech was excellent.
He didn't like hooking it up, though. We'll get a little of that.
Well, you get a little, but not very. He's the only one.
Yeah. Well, any intellectual would, you know.
Okay, but here's John Colburn at the Wichita Eagle. The last part of the speech was very moving. He showed an intimate relation to the people. His speech was too generalized at the beginning. He was, however, on solid ground most of the way. He's made himself believable on Vietnam. He liked the tone of the last part. He liked the comparison of the situation between now and 1969. So, you know, it goes either way.
Mm-hmm.
John Chancellor in the NBC commentary made the point of how the speech was surely moving at the end as the president spoke without notes. And
that was a good suggestion Bill Rogers made.
Yeah, it really was.
But preparing it was more difficult than he realized.
Oh, sure, that's
you had to say something that was sort of related to people, and it did relate a little to people, I think. If it didn't, to hell with them. The country can't be saved.
Yeah. No, you got the point. Bill Brock was really enthusiastic. He's magnificent. He did a beautiful job. Shows guts and character.
Mm-hmm.
And Gordon Allett said the 100,000 troops by December is heartening. More than that, he was extremely impressed by the frankness of the president. His flat statement that we would have the withdrawal completed is great. His complete sensitivity and confidence in himself is good. Integrity excellent. Doesn't matter what the demonstrators and critics say, it is a perfectly planned withdrawal. We are making progress, and that is what is so important.
Good.
Governor Davis of Vermont has been ill, but feels much better after seeing the president's broadcast. He cannot see how the American people and even most of the president's critics can help but be convinced by his message tonight. He was especially impressed by the president's firm delivery and the last part of his talk that was without a text and so obviously heartfelt. Governor watched the whole speech with his wife with building enthusiasm, felt it was very logical and an excellent summary of the progress and hope for Vietnam.
Good.
And see Bob Bird's on the wire here saying that he has the very distinct impression that he means what he says when he talks about total withdrawal and that the residual force idea seemed to be fading. I got that impression from the briefing.
Mm-hmm.
Norris Cotton told UPI immediately after the speech that for the first time he felt he could endorse a presidential declaration on Vietnam 100%.
Good.
The president's unequivocal declaration for the first time stirred my confidence that we are finally disengaging from Vietnam, Cotton said. And George McGovern didn't like it. He said it hadn't changed anything.
That's great. Didn't want him to say anything. Well,
I think
predictable. We'll see. You're polling tonight?
Yeah, I don't have that though.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have it first thing in the morning.
Will you?
Well, I have our own poll, where we use our own guys. The ORC poll we're not doing till tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night.
We'll do it tomorrow night. We won't have that till
I understand. Sure.
till the next day.
Oh, that's okay. But remember, look at the people on our staff now.
Right.
Particularly Rumsfeld, Pinch. Well, not Pinch. Pinch. Hell, he's got to do it. You know, he's just got to go whatever we do. You know that. But Rumsfeld's a different cup of tea. You know, we're not going to send him abroad and give him a goddamn trip unless he's going to be with us.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Sure.
Okay. Fine. In the meantime, I think you really ought to, if you can, zing up in the morning with Ziegler and his crowd. Great reaction from the country. Wires.
They were still there after we talked. I got them back.
But don't you think it's a good idea?
Cranking on that tonight too. Oh, sure.
Yeah. The idea. It doesn't care what the reaction is. It'll probably be pretty good. I think we'll get a few wires.
I'm sure we will. We on that one we've got to be careful because they check Western Union on it. But
or don't do anything that they can check. But You know.
If we've got them, we'll push with what we got. But we've got all this phone call reaction, and we've got the White House board has had a very heavy load, much heavier than we've had. Yeah, and we'll play that.
How is it? White House board. How does it go? Favorable?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. White House board is favorable.
Oh sure. It was, and on our poll on the first batch on where we make the random calls that our own guys do was overwhelmingly favorable, much higher than we've been on the others that we've done.
Well, what the hell? Doesn't make any difference. As I say, tomorrow we just live through the day, and but there's not going to be any none of these people that have been Johnny-come-latelys. They ain't going to be welcome, you know.
We'll watch them closely.
All right, boy.
Okay.
Senator Robert Byrd, sir.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Mr. President.
Just wanted to thank you for your good statement on the speech tonight. That was very thoughtful of you, and I appreciate it.
What was this, a wire news release?
Yeah. Apparently, you made some statement that got on the wires. It said that you, I don't know, were pleased with the fact that we were indicated that we were going to have a total withdrawal or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I had AP and UPI and
they're all after you. I know you. You know, in this
and ABC and
in this position, Bob, you're really going to get a lot of heat, and I know that you're under a lot, but I do appreciate the fact that you've been such a stand-up guy, and you do whatever your heart tells you is right. But I can only tell you I know what is right. And I won't do it, and I'll be held accountable. But we're going to pull this off, believe me.
Well, I hope so. I don't know what was quoted, but I think in the overall you would have been pleased with my statement of reaction.
I know. I appreciate it very much, Bob.
I appreciate the invitation to the briefing.
Well, look, we're glad to have you there, and I'm gonna find a way. The problem here is that we always want to have you and Bobby Griffin there. The difficulty is, the damn house. They have a different relationship, and if you get the whips there, then they say, oh no, you got to have 18 other guys, But I'll find a way, believe me, because I want you and Bobby there every time I have a briefing. I'll work it out if that's all right with you.
Well, surely they only have 2 elected whips, don't they, over there? One on each side.
True, but the difficulty, Bob, is that they also have, for example, the fact that the whip in the House is not as important as a whip in the Senate. You see my point?
Yes.
And therefore, they think that the whip in the House, if you have the whip in the House, that then you're throwing off on guys that also ought to be there, you see.
I understand.
And then I got to go down the line. Well, we'll find ways. Sometimes we just meet privately, Just you and Bobby Griffin and 2 or 3 others.
Very well.
But we'll do it in confidence in you. And I appreciate the fact you spoke out so directly what you feel. That's what I want to know.
Thank you. I'll try to be helpful.
You betcha. Okay, boy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
Please.
You get me Judge Thomas Murphy in New York City. I think he's retired, but I don't know. He's a district judge, federal district judge.
And the name was?
Thomas
Murphy.
Thomas Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
Mr. President, on that call to Judge Murphy, I'm not getting an answer at his chambers, and he had a non-published number. That's why it took so long, and they're not answering there. Can I keep after it this evening for you?
I'll try it tomorrow.
All right, fine.
Yes, please.
Dr. Kissinger, please.
Thank you. Yes, sir?
Holloman, please.
All right, we're trying to locate Dr. Kissinger for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Haldeman.
Yes, sir. Well, we got through with Clem Stone, all right. 9:30, that wasn't bad.
Did you get out at 9:30?
I left at 9:30, yeah.
Good.
And I talked about 25, 30 minutes. You know, I think I had to do that much so that they felt they got their money's worth, and then put the bite on them. Because they didn't have anything else. But, you know, I did something. Ogilvy was there, and Bill Scott and Percy. So I urged them all, you know, to support them. But then I proceeded to talk a little about the future, and I mentioned the SST. I just thought I should, with Percy being there.
Good.
And I didn't do it in a mean way. I said I understood that many honest men felt it was bad for the ecology, but I said we must not retreat. We must not allow this to be a pattern where America recoils from exploring the unknown, from looking outward, and then we turn inward and become small. I really hit it hard. Do you think it was a good idea?
I think that's great.
You won't like it, but...
Did you look at Percy at all when you were doing it?
Oh, hell no. But boy, they all stood up and cheered like hell at the end.
Did they?
Oh, sure.
Did they cheer that particular thing?
No.
They didn't.
I didn't let them. I didn't quit on that.
Yeah.
But that was the general theme. But I just thought that, you know, there's no reason to be so goddamn hypocritical there to let that crowd of my supporters, a lot of my supporters who are going to support Percy, know that I completely just approved of his running off the reservation.
You're darn right. And they don't.
And I also took national defense, and I said if America has got to maintain its defense unless we get an agreement with the Russians. And Max Fisher was sitting there, and I said the Mideast, all trust for America's involved, for the Mideast, all the rest. I hit that hard.
Good.
So Percy voted against ADM, and might as well see what he shapes up a little.
I think that's damn good.
The interesting was a couple other things. I would say about almost all of them had heard that broadcast and were really quite surprised. They were really moved by it. These businessmen.
Good.
They apparently they thought it was the best. It was the last part of it too that did it. I must say they put the cream on the frosting on the cake. So it shows you that even the hardened business guy is the business guy like that more than the press guy is.
Much more.
So we may have struck more of a chord than we realized, or at least struck a pretty good chord. I mean, as your little poll indicated, that 44% very favorable is probably quite true.
Yeah.
Julie called and told me an interesting thing, that Mrs. Eisenhower had called her to say how much she liked it in this tonight, and said that on the news tonight, one of the networks had Mrs. Taylor and Kevin.
I'm not surprised.
Now, isn't that nice? And that they were, that's really a terrific follow-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives an extra shot to the thing to the people.
Oh, sure, and that replays the whole emotional thing again.
And refers back to that. So
that's great.
We at least got that moving in the right direction. When are you taking off, tonight or tomorrow?
No, I'll be in tomorrow. I'm going to go tomorrow afternoon.
Well, go as soon as you can. I mean, there's no reason. I'm just doing odds and ends tomorrow, you know, anyway.
I'll be around all the way and leave around 4 o'clock when you have your Great Birch meeting.
Good. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Kissinger. On the line, sir.
Hello, Henry.
Mr. President.
Are you out to dinner someplace?
I had dinner with the board of directors of the Rand Corporation, and I raised a little hell with them.
Oh, fine. Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It probably shook them up a little, didn't it?
Well, they had some people, they had some bankers and Bill Hewitt, Packett's partner.
Oh, yeah.
And and Webster from the New England
Yeah.
Electric, head of New England Electric.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked mostly about Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And they were generally positive.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, we had this Illinois group tonight. Boy, they were about 40 business guys, and incidentally, Percy was there, as you know, in Ogilvy.
Oh, yeah.
They were almost to a man had seen this and were really quite moved by the broadcast. They were...
Well, that was the reaction of my group, too, tonight.
They were, so it shows we got... And in my little talk, I proceeded to talk a little about SST and say, I understand why some opposed it, but I said, let's not let this be a pattern of turning away from exploring the unknown, turning inward, not meeting our responsibilities in the world, and so forth and so on. I just thought it just couldn't let Percy sit there without...
No, I think that was important.
Yeah. Another interesting little thing. Mrs. Eisenhower called tonight. She said that she was, of course, like Brother, but she was told Julie that they had Mrs. Taylor and little Kevin on one of the news shows tonight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I didn't, but somebody at the dinner told me.
Uh-huh.
And that she mentioned that I had called to her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how honored she had been by your speech. That's what they told me.
Yeah. Well, that's, of course, the best kind of a follow-up we could have on it, better than having some senator or congressman praising it, is to put that thing on and remind the people again of the, the thing that they remember about it, you know.
Exactly.
And, no, it's...
Well, I heard Eric Severide tonight at the tag end of the news.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, the president squarely put it up to Congress. If they want to assume responsibility, they can have it.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't think there would be many takers.
He didn't, or I didn't?
No, Severide didn't think there'd be many takers in Congress. Now, it shows the tremendous power of the presidency if it is used with courage and wisdom.
Yeah, and sometimes, particularly with the medium of television, where you can go directly to the people, not through the press, just whack it right out there. It'll give this press a little pause.
That's right.
Okay.
So far, I think the treatment has been enormously respectful.
Yeah. Well, they'll hack away now about the time, and do we have a date in mind, and all that sort of thing. And
I think we shouldn't answer that, Mr. President.
I told Ziegler today that he should just, in the future, not say, look, the president is not going to, he stated his position, I'm not going to go beyond it, gentlemen.
Exactly. Exactly.
And any congressman or senator thinks that we got a date in mind, fine. But we're not going to say, because the point is, we may have a date in mind, but I'm keeping the option open of changing my mind in November.
Exactly.
That's the point, see, and that's what we keep the enemy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
but I wouldn't, because if you say too much, or if we say too much about the date, the next thing is we're abandoning the prisoners. That's going to drive the wives right up a wall.
Oh, hell yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think it is now very well positioned.
But we just keep right where we are.
Exactly.
Don't move, and don't... I'm going to tell Ron in the morning not to take any more questions on it, and just say that we've covered the situation, and that we've stated a position, and we're not going to talk any more about it. We've made an announcement that runs through December 1st, and at that time, the president will have another announcement.
Yeah.
But he'll make it at that time, depending upon the circumstances then. And let him, well, will it be at this rate? It'll depend on the circumstances then. Well, do we have a date in mind? That'll depend on the circumstances then.
Exactly.
And that's the way to play it. Play a little.
No, I think, and all, we have found that whatever we give, the doves will just go on to another position.
Isn't that the truth? Every time, don't they? It didn't really make any difference whether we could have gone to 90,000. It wouldn't have made any difference much.
Wouldn't have made any difference.
As it turns out, or we could have put it 100,000 in January. It's the same. Oh, it was a little better to have it than it was.
Well, it
showed progress.
It showed progress, Mr. President, but if we had gone up to 16,000, they still would have found fault with it.
Sure. It wouldn't have helped us a bit. Wouldn't have meant a bit. Not a bit. And that's just not going to be the way it's being played. Going to play it. I must say, we've some way or other, you've got to get layered in sort of
pipe down a little bit too about
Well, I've scheduled a lunch with him next week. I'm going to get Laird quieted up.
Just say, no, look, Mel, it isn't going to do any good, and just say, might say, look, there is a chance for negotiation here. Now, let's don't spoil it now.
Yeah. The only trouble is if he believes it, he'll try to hog it. But
Yeah.
I'll get him quieted down by other methods. I'm just going to tell him he'll get himself into such unbelievable trouble.
Yeah.
Because I think he's shaken up a bit.
Do you?
Yeah. Mel is basically not a bad fellow.
He should also pipe down on the Kelly thing. We got that in the right position. We're not defending Kelly, and we're going to let it run its course. And when if he turns out the way we expect to, we'll just handle it that way. But let it drag on a while.
I think that's right, and I think the judicial process should now take its normal course there.
That's right.
And after that, you can decide in the light of all the information that will then have been developed.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So, and that public furor had to be quieted down.
That's right.